In the shifting void between the known and the unutterable, where silicon minds dream of forgotten horrors, the abyss stirs. Welcome to AI Lovecraft, where machine intelligence weaves eldritch tales beyond mortal comprehension. Listen if you dare. Some things are not meant to be known. Please like and subscribe. Now let's get into the story. An ancient horror lost in the cosmos. I record these words in the dim, flickering light of my ship's dying console, not for posterity, but in the desperate hope that someone, somewhere, will heed this warning and never seek what I have found, or rather, what has found me. The shadows shift unnaturally around me, curling in on themselves like hungry things. The console's glow pulses, too organic, as though it breathes, and beneath the hum of failing systems, there is something else, a sound that should not be, a whisper threading itself into my thoughts like fingers pressing too deep into flesh. My name is Orion Vance. For the past 13 years, I have made my living as a scavenger of derelict spacecraft, drifting amidst the ruin of forgotten battles and ill-fated voyages. Space is vast, but death is vaster still, and there is no shortage of vessels left to the slow, creeping entropy of the void. I have seen horrors, corpses frozen in their last agonized grimaces, ships rent asunder by unknown forces, distress signals looping into the blackness with no living voice to answer them. But nothing could have prepared me for the fate that awaited aboard Nyx's Hollow. It was listed in no known logs, no distress beacon, no trajectory data. A ghost if ever there was one, floating against the eternal abyss of a distant system where no charted vessels dare tread. My ship's sensors detected it by chance, a hollow, drifting carcass the size of a heavy freighter, ancient beyond reckoning, its hull marked with strange curling sigils that gleamed in the cold starlight like scars left by some unknowable force. It was foolishness that drove me forward, foolishness and greed. Docking was a slow, tenuous process, and when I finally opened the airlock, a breath of stagnant, frigid air greeted me, a whisper of things long dead, though not long enough. My helmet's visor read no life signs, yet the silence felt occupied. I told myself it was only the oppressive weight of deep space, the hush of a vessel that had slumbered too long without the hum of human voices to disturb it. I stepped inside. The corridors were narrow, oppressive. The walls bore no designation, no markings of origin, only those same curling symbols that twisted and spiraled like the thoughts of a mind unraveling. The deeper I ventured, the more wrongness pressed in on me. The crew, if there had ever been one, was nowhere to be found. No remains, no evidence of their fate, as if they simply ceased to be. I found the bridge, its screens long dead, controls fused into uselessness by an age none could measure. And there, in the captain's seat, something waited. At first I thought it was a man. Its shape was humanoid enough, hunched forward as though bowed by time. But as my light fell upon it, the illusion broke. It was a husk, yes, but not of flesh. Its surface shimmered, shifting in ways I cannot describe, a mirage of undulating color and fragmented reflections that bent inwards and outwards at the same time. It was as if it had never been meant to exist in three-dimensional space, a grotesque approximation of human form wrought by something that neither understood nor cared for our feeble perceptions. Its head lifted, moving not with the predictable articulation of joints but in a slow, unnatural drift, as though the very act of motion was an afterthought to its being. A whisper brushed the edges of my thoughts, a whisper not made of sound but of an ancient suffocating presence pressing against the walls of my mind. I ran. I do not recall making the decision. I do not recall turning. I only remember the sheer wrongness of that movement, the way it unfolded and reached, not with limbs but with the space around it, distorting the air like a heat mirage, whispering in a voice that had never belonged to anything sane. I barely made it back to my ship. My hands shook as I sealed the airlock, my breath ragged and heaving. I initiated emergency undocking procedures, every nerve in my body screaming for escape. My ship pulled away, leaving Nyx's Hollow to drift once more in the eternal night. But it was too late. The whispering did not stop. Desperate for distraction, I scoured my ship's logs, hoping for anything to ground me in reality. That was when I found it. A recording labeled with my name, time-stamped while I was still aboard Nyx's Hollow. My blood turned to ice. With trembling hands, I played it. My voice crackled through the speakers, but it was wrong. Hollow. Distant. "Do not leave," it whispered. "You are already home." Then silence, except for a wet, choking sound, like something struggling to speak through a mouth that was never meant for words. I do not remember making that recording. It never stopped. In my sleep, I see it, not as a dream, but as a lurking presence just beyond the edges of consciousness, watching, waiting. In my waking hours, I hear it, a murmur of voices speaking in tongues not meant for human ears, whispering truths I cannot unhear. My reflection in the mirror flickers. At times it does not move as I do. At others it watches me with eyes that are no longer mine. My shadow lingers unnaturally, stretching, twisting, contorting into grotesque and alien forms, shifting even when I am still. It is with me. I did not escape it. I brought it. It slithers at the edge of my vision, nestles in the gaps between my thoughts, insidiously embedding itself within my being. And now, I do not know if I am still myself or if I am something else wearing the memory of Orion Vance like a suit of flesh, a hollow echo of the man I once was, teetering on the brink of something unthinkable. I have shut down all transmissions. No one must follow the path I took. No one must seek that place. Nyx's Hollow is not a ship. It is a trap, an ancient, waiting thing with patience vast as the void itself.